Here we are. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, Florian?
Very good. Very good to see you. Very good. Now we are here. It is in the morning, so we started to work 2 hours ago or so. First thing this week, we were working on the Beirut colleagues, I have to say. So I've been traveling already this morning because there's a lot to do, as you can imagine, also in Beirut and in the Lebanon at the moment. So, but now it's you. So now I'm very curious. And I also looked a little bit into the database of how many of people from Kazakhstan have applied already for this year. So which looks also good. So, but probably some more will come afterwards. So
Hopefully.
Hopefully not less. Julia, you tell me, right? So you tell me.
I think actually we can start.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Should I start or will you start?
So, well, I kind of started my introduction a bit earlier, so just to let you know who we have here, but it's a very lovely film people from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Russia, and I'm very happy to have this opportunity to introduce you to them. And also we are excited that you are here, so you can share some more information with us about Berlinale Talents as a big program, but also you have a doc lab and a script lab, short something for short films. So it's kind of wide program. So, and I think everyone can find something for yourself.
Yeah. Thank you first and foremost for having me here, having like this. So normally, of course, and I know that we've been discussing that quite for a while. So we would love to travel and also come to Kazakhstan and come to other places where you are and visit you at the festivals. So because as you can imagine, or already know or have experienced already, Berlinale Talents very much about creating lasting networks, I would say. So we stress some other words. Normally we say even a family or something like this. So because it describes a little bit better the emotional parts of the connections we try to create. Of course, it's mainly a business platform. It's a platform where you can further develop your projects. It's also an artistic platform where you can make exchanges, change your perspectives on the way how the world is perceived, and also on the way how films are made, of course, in particular. But it is also this family, this kind of the thing that is in between all the things we do. And the word is, or the term works from our point of view, it works quite well. So those who have been with us, they can tell themselves whether they want to or feel that they are belonging to a family. But I would say we use the word family more often than network because it allows you to understand how we keep connected. So we share something similar, we share some experiences we've made together, but we don't have to stick together like this for the entire days and so on. It's a bit like having an uncle here and an aunt there, or a nephew in South America. So you stay connected with those people even if you don't see them every week. But if you want to reconnect, or if you have a question, this nephew or this aunt or this uncle is definitely there for you. And I think that's very important. That's how communities can last for quite a long time and also further develop and grow. And Berlinale Talents has been doing that for quite some years. And I will give you like a super brief general idea on this philosophy and on how it looks like. And then we should use most of the time to also hear from those who have applied already or have been here to tell a little bit about how it was, how the application process went, and also Olga, probably you can share something about ScriptStation or whatever, so that we get a good idea on the talents universe.
I actually have had this feeling of a family that you are talking about. And you know that a lot of talents, alumni, they do collaborate after they meet each other. And I know that Akmaraal this year, she collaborated with one actor. They created a song together, but it's like one of the examples, yes. But also, like, I know for people who are here, they are interested in how do you see the, like, I don't know how to say, perfect candidates. What are you looking for?
Okay, good. Okay, let me give you just a very brief overview. Everything is also on the website with this, so I don't go into super details. And Julia also said some most important cornerstones. So we have a program for 250 people every year, 250 filmmakers. And when we say filmmakers or film creatives, we mean people from 13 different disciplines. So ranging from directors to producers, actors, film critiques even. Nowadays also audience designers, so people who run a cinema or have a festival can come to the market studio. And all these people kind of meet in a situation like on your production table. So the different perspectives of a cinematographer or a sound designer, that's what you bring into the whole pot. And you start to share those perspectives. Can you use the mic?
Yes. Can we mute the mic? Okay, I will just try.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
So you can share those perspectives here in Berlin within a program of 6 days. And I will mention how Berlinale Talents looks like in general. Of course, the new situation might have changes. But normally, and also in future, we tend to have a summit of 6 days during the Berlinale with around 100 events. So it's way too many events for you to do, but it's also very important to know that it need to be that many, because it is you who makes the choices. So you will make your own schedules. Some parts of the schedule are pre-scheduled already, especially if you're attending one of the labs. We will speak about that. But if you're attending the summit, let's say as a director, you will make your own choices whether you want to see and speak with this director on the production process or the development process of his script, or whether it's this, let's say, the spotting of subtitles from a technical point of view. And these 2 sessions, they will be parallel, so you will have to make a decision, but by making this decision, you create, in a way, your own way through Berlin, and you also hopefully get your questions answered most specifically. The summit lasts over those 6 days, but it also consists a lot of internal events, ranging from a breakfast, which is already part of the program, although it's only about food. So this is not, we don't make you too busy every moment, but we believe very much on a, let's say, philosophical level in the idea of coincidences and chances, meaning by having 250 potential people to meet, you cannot meet them all, let's say, officially. There will be always 10, 15 people you've never met over the course of the time. You might have seen them somewhere on the other side of the room. But coincidentally, the one cinematographer from Brazil, she will sit at some point next to you at the breakfast table. And this will create some kind of a special magic moment where you start to share your project, or where you just speak about how is life in Kazakhstan. And then something magically can start to emerge. And we believe in that also out of experience of almost 20 years of creating these, let's say, magic moments. and we kind of create a program around the coincidences so that we meet as often as possible by queuing up or by waiting for something or by living and sharing a room or everything like this. So program is far more than only meeting Helen Mirren. So, or working with whatever Gus van Sant on your script or so. It is definitely also about all these little moments, which are the big moments in my understanding. So it's great to be in a room with Helen Mirren once in your life, but it's probably likewise important to meet this cinematographer. And then, of course, there is a lot of stuff which is focusing on your project. Although, and this brings me to the very important question that all the filmmakers who are applying for talents have to answer themselves. The question is for you is, what do I really need? And this question should be answered before you come to Berlin, even before you fill out the application. Because it is not a formula we offer. It's not like, okay, we go to that point in your in the process of your next project, and then we give you a mentor, and that's it. So this is what happens very often in other labs. Which you can kind of tailor-made put into one specific moment in your project development or in your career or so on. Berlinale Talents is kind of everything. So it allows you to either focus on your project, if you are, especially if you're a screenwriter or a director or if you're a producer, or it allows you to focus on yourself because you think, okay, I've been sitting on this project for quite a while and I feel a little bit, let's say, secluded and reduced on that. I want to widen my perspective, or I want to challenge myself a little bit, or I just want to learn. So, in that respect, most of the application, if you look into the questions, is about you yourself. It's not so much about what is the project about and so on. It is mainly about what's your style of work, how do you do it, who's an inspirational character in your own country or beyond, what would you like to ask him or her, make up your own questions and answer it. So if we have forgotten something, so you can put it there. So we want to get to know a little bit of what you would like to share. So it's not a test or something. So if you don't want to share the truth, then you share something else. But it is something you like to share and bring to Berlin that should be in the application. And this brought into the bigger context of 250 people creates an interesting mix of different interests. Of course, if you think, okay, I have been quite distracted over the last month and I've been working on a script or on a concept for my documentary or for a VR piece or something, I need focus. So that's the one thing that I need to. So I've been learning too much in a way. So I need to now focus on that one thing and nail it down. Kind of. I need in a way the monastery. So like this little room where I'm only with myself. Then or with someone who gives me advice. Then something like the script station or the doc station or the short form station or the talent project market could be useful. Technically spoken, out of the 250, 40 are attending the labs. It's a parallel event, and if you're attending the labs, Olga can tell us more about it. It's quite time-consuming, so you won't have much time to go into sessions with Helen Mirren. But you will have time to sit down with a mentor. Is this true? So probably, Olga, would you like to share something about ScriptStation?
Sure, also because I think it's like, I didn't realize in the moment when I was in Berlin, but we were so lucky that Berlinale happened this year. So it's like,
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I start to say that it's like, you know, this acronym like BC, like before Christ. Now we can say like before Corona and after. Oh, it's like the last festival before coronavirus exploded everywhere. So it's like when I was coming back, I was thinking how lucky I was to be able to attend, to have this live energy, because After that, I was supposed to go also to Istanbul and Cannes, and of course, none of that has happened. So my experience at Berlinale Script Station was absolutely amazing, and the fact that this was the last live event where I could actually speak to people face to face about my project, this made it even 10 times more valuable. And what I could, I will probably first share my personal experience, and after I'll say what I think is important for people who are going to apply or like hoping to get there. So for me personally, I came there with my new project, which is second feature film. And when I was going there, I was thinking that I know everything about my script, everything about my characters. But when I arrived there and we started to work like with mentors, I started to get some feedbacks. I realized that I know nothing. So thanks to Script Station, it's like a lot of things developed in my script since then. And we also, I was super lucky with my mentor, because my mentor, she was absolutely amazing. And we were so much on the same page, like she was very much understanding what I want to say with my movie. So we had, all the sessions we had were like completely like life-changing for me. And another useful part for me was that we had a pitching during Script Station, and we had, of course, all the preparation process, and we got help to prepare the pitch. And after Script Station, I was also attending meetings on the bridge in Istanbul, which was already online. And also we pitched our projects at market in Cannes. And all this experience of working on my pitch at Script Station, it was super useful, because everything I prepared, I kind of used it in all other places. So I mean, I did some very little adjustments, but the biggest part what was done already there. And so the experience of pitching the project and preparing the project for the pitching was absolutely amazing, because it also helped me to understand what I need to focus on when I pitch, what is a strong part in my story, like what I want to say precisely. So it's really like all these things combined. I think it's, so far it was the most useful event for me ever, like from what I was attending so far. And I would like also to say some things like for people who are hoping to go there, because I'll probably, some of the things will be the same which Florian already said, but I find them so important that I will say them again. And I understood, because first I went for the generic Berlinale Talents a few years ago, and this year I attended Script Station. And after attending the first time, I understood how important it is to plan ahead what is your goal there. Because at the time, which was 2016, I think, when I was in Berlinale Talents, the generic one, and I came kind of just with a lot of motivation to do, I don't know what, I mean, I was super excited just to be there, but I didn't know what I'm going to do there exactly. And after I understood that it would be so much better if I would plan ahead what I want to do. Am I going to just find useful connection? Am I going to find a producer? I mean, all this planning, putting a specific goal for attending Berlinale Talents would be very much useful. And I think my first attendance would be very much better. That's why when I was selected for Script Station, I was much more focused on what I want to get. So I really find this very useful. Another useful thing for me was the breakfast. Because I noticed while attending that many people don't come for breakfast, but I think it's such an amazing opportunity to meet people, to maybe even find somebody with whom you can build a project in future. Because while attending like master classes, you're not, I mean, you're focused on the master class. It's very difficult to actually speak with people. And breakfast is like amazing, relaxing environment to speak, to make some connection. I mean, I say connection, which sounds like a bad word. It sounds like business. Let's say make friends. I really think if you ever go there, always go for breakfast and always each time sit with new people every morning. Don't stick with the same crowd. I mean, keep meeting people all the time. And and regarding if you get selected for one of the station, this will be very intense program. Probably you'll not have time to attend any other masterclass because you have a lot of focused work on your project. But it will worth it. I mean, I probably didn't eat much during while I was there, but it's so much worth it. I would do even more if I could. I would do 1 year in this rhythm. That was my experience. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Questions? Thank you, Olga. Any questions to Olga directly?
Maybe I can ask something.
Yes.
Maybe both Olga and Florian. Like when we talk about like script station, for example, which stage of development you're looking at the project? Like it could be like a super first draft, or it could be something more developed. Like, I don't know, like I think like as Olga mentioned, she already applied to something. She believed this has a form and structure, but like, do you really consider, like what kind of stages you're looking at it? Like when you look at the applications, like how developed should it be?
Yeah, it's a good question. So because it's a very difficult question to answer. So when I came to Talents in the application form, it was like something like, okay, your script need to be in the 4th draft or something like this. So, but what is the 4th draft again? So because everyone works a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think so. We turned it into something more philosophical again. So we put it back to you guys to decide what is the right moment. What is really important to know is, so we call those labs discovery labs. So, and in the way Olga just mentioned, it is normally it is of course meant for others to discover you and your project. So this is why there's a presentation at the end, but it's also very much about you discovering something you haven't thought that it's in your script. So, and this can be a problem. It can, or challenge, or however you want to call it. It can also be the right and true potential of your script, which you've been putting into it, but you never realized it because you were much too close to it. So, so in a way, by distancing yourself to your project in the lab process and through the mentor's point of views and so on, you also discover your own script or your own project again. This being said, there should be something. So even if there is a bit too much, so like an almost finished script, why not? So probably you will start to rewrite it after this, after attending the lab. But there should be more than an idea. What we do not accept is just the idea for a film. In technical terms, we asked for a treatment, which means like 10 to 12 pages should be already there. And it's not only because it's 10, 12 pages, that's an entire film. It's also because 10 pages of writing, that requires some time. So it requires some thoughts to put into it. Also, you put some sweat into the project already, meaning, okay, you tested it already a little bit on its potentials, and that's good. And then, of course, we ask for an example from your script. In the first round, we won't read that. So ScriptStation has a very, very specific selection process because it's hundreds of projects coming in, and we can't read everything in the beginning, or we don't want to read everything in the beginning. So we just read your treatment and your additional material. And then in the second round, or no, even worse. So from last year on, we only read the additional material in the very first round, which is it's a big and long explanation of your motivations and also what the film is about and so on. And then very soon we start to read the treatments. And then in a very, very last round, also with the jury, with the final jury, the script or parts of the script are read. And for the first round, you just send us 5 pages of your script, which is very hard for filmmakers normally who are in love with their entire script to choose these 5 pages, but it is very important because it tells us what do you think is important in your script. So don't just pick the first 5 pages because you think I have a nice intro. You need to have a reason for this choice. And then of course, when you're selected in early December, we will ask you to send in the entire material or script by beginning of January so that your mentor has the full material to speak and work with you. But that's probably the long answer to something which we cannot answer in short, especially if it comes up to more experimental films, documentaries, short formats, and so on. Here we ask for more conceptual material. You can also bring in some explanations, mood boards, and so on, if this is the way how you work. The only thing we don't accept is like films which are already in post-production. So like work in progress, so on. That's difficult. I would love to do a lab like this especially for documentaries, because there's normally the problem of too much material, and it's a fantastic situation. So, but it simply requires super exciting, but it requires too much time for a mentor to sit through 600 hours of your recordings. So we can't unfortunately do that.
Thank you.
A quick one, just because we mentioned all these, like this, the structure of the 4 different labs, that's clear, right? So doc station, documentary and hybrids, script station, everything which is kind of fictional. So it can also be hybrid towards, let's say, documentary formats, but more from the fictional point of view. So it's the question on how you tackle a project. So if it's meant to be in between, the script station is probably for those who take, let's say, real experiences, but turn them into a script, or just invent a story in the traditional way. Documentary is in a way the other way around. There's a lot of, let's say, fictional formats in the documentary, but more based on true events or true material, or working with non-actors or whatever. And in the end, the product that you're intending to produce should be a documentary or a documental form. And short form station is kind of the weird, wonderful, magic little space for everything, which, what we say, takes the amount of time of a short film, meaning it can be a short film, of course. We don't care about the length or so, but something like around or up to 30 minutes. But it can also be a mini series of 5 times 10 minutes, which would be 50 minutes in total, but it requires, let's say, the time or the amount of work of a short film. So, and it's a very, very cool mix of 10 different projects and people in one room. So short form station is also super recommendable. And then
but I think it was, sorry.
No?
Sorry, go on. No, I was about to say that, like, a part of the labs, what I really enjoyed about Berlinale is like all the studios. Like, for example, you can, like, I came as a director, but at the same time I could attend the studio with actors, for example, and it was super fun for me. Yeah. Because all of a sudden I have a room like, it was like, say 15 actors from all over the world. And, like, you know, this is like the moment when they say something that they never said to the director on set. They're like, why you always do this? Or like, really would laugh if, like, the directors would, like, give us this and that. Like, we appreciate this way of working, or that's what we don't like. And it's kind of a great feedback, because, like, sometimes, like, when you're on set, when you're shooting, you don't have enough time to talk about it. There's so much, you know, like, and all of a sudden, like, you have the people around you that you never met, and maybe you'll work together, but they'll give you such a valuable information about their experience on set as actors. And we talk a lot about, like, this actors-directors relationship. And I felt like these kind of discussions was really, like, fun and useful at Berlinale, because you could talk to cinematographers about different approaches, with production designers. And somehow it's like, it's broaden your own perspective on, like, this different collaboration that you can bring back on your own projects. Like, maybe you'll work together or maybe not, but at the same time, knowing this information, it's such a great asset, I felt.
Yeah. No, thank you. And also thank you for helping us here to complete the picture. So because I think the special thing is indeed, Berlinale, that it's not only focusing on those who are always in the focus in a way, sorry, so it's always the directors and producers who are in the focus of story and script development and so on. And so of course, very okay. But there's of course many more in the film world who are contributing important and very important ways to the film. So no film without a cinematographer, no film without actors, and so on. And putting them and giving them also the space to exchange about their own worlds and with others, like you just said, that's what we think is very important. So there is a studio for each field of work. So the actor studio, composer meet in the sound studio. Akmara can tell us a bit about this. And what have you done in there, Akmara? Tell us.
Okay, thank you, Florian. As just you said before, the movie cannot be without actors and without anything else, you know, cinematographer. But I think movie could exist without music, and the music is, you know, very independent at itself. So as musicians, we are really had enough experience, you know, to performing everything about society, a society of musicians, a society of musical world. But when you go to this kind of events, this kind of program, you're really open to yourself, another world inside, you know, because when we work composers on a film, we are really work so aloof, you know, like loneliness in a room, always at home, writing a music, and maybe meeting sometimes with the sound engineers of movies, only with sound engineers and directors maybe, but you never see anybody else in movies, you know, like you never met actors really in it. So when you go this kind of event, you're really open to yourself, all this world, how the people works, how the people talks, you know, like being integrated into collective. So that is what I really discovered in my musical mundane. So and also you know, my collaboration with Жаннат was before to Berlinale, and that is really also open to me, discovered that how it's work film inside, because we're really aloof, musicians, composers, maybe sound engineers also, because there is two group of sound engineers who's working with movies on a shooting process and after post-production. So I think it's really useful to guys who wants to know how it's work in real work, how it's dealing, because, you know, I never had experience to connect with the producers, with the script writers, with anybody else. So just only with music supervisors maybe in my life. So that is good experience. That, yeah, I think it's really necessary for musicians, for composers, exactly, for film composers. Sorry.
No, thank you very much. I think it's nicely put into words what we try there. All these stuff, and you probably have realized that already. It's not a school, so it's very much depending on the annual group, and we just create frameworks because we consider you to be adults, grown-ups, professionals. You're already a talent when you come to Berlin. So even if the word Berlinale Talents might assume, okay, you become one afterwards, but we don't think so. And this also explains a little bit about, or helps you probably about to find out when is the right moment to apply for Berlinale Talents. Because when it was founded, it was called Berlinale Talent Campus. And it was a students program, it was for beginners. It was wonderful because it was like 500 people coming every year. And our director said, okay, why can't we invite 1,000? And then there was one huge hall full of people, full of energy and so on. Okay, this doesn't work. It's fun, you can do it some years and then you're done. Especially we said there is quite a lot in the meantime for people who enter into the process. There's still not enough and not for everyone in the world, but there is normally you have an opportunity to go at least to one film school or to one place in your country, or you can even make a choice. But what happens after 5 to 10 years when you started in the business or in the world? You've made your own first 2 short films, you presented them to festivals and so on. Now you're working on your feature-length film. No one is asking anything anymore. So because they believe that you're ready anyway, so that you need to do it. But this moment in life when the shit really hits the fan, so when the serious questions kick in, the questions also not only on how to make a film, but also how to make a living. Am I really a talent? Should I probably do something else? Is it this editing that I've always doing parallel to my screenwriting or directing? Probably this is my talent. Probably I should find out a bit more about this. Probably this also gives me opportunities to earn money, but I have to build up a company. I have to collaborate. I have to find new collaborators internationally, blah, blah, blah. All these like super important questions, which normally come in a moment when you discover, or you have discovered, that also you have a value for someone else, and not only the others have values for you. So like, okay, this producer, she should make my film. That's very okay in the beginning of a career to say so, but after a while you will realize, okay, if I give something, I get something back. And that's in a way, the moment of marriage, or the moment when you discover, okay, I have that value and I put this into the pot, and then we start to share. And if you feel ready for that, or if you feel worried about this, in whatever way, if you think, okay, I need more advice, I need more framework for that, then Berlinale Talents is a good time. And this moment is in everyone's career, I'm sure about it. It's not always at the same time. So it can also be there when you're 28 or so. But in the average of our applications and participants, it happens above 30. So the average of participants average age is like something like 33, 34, so like this. And this means people are from 28 to 38 or so. We don't look at the age. It's something very deep in your application. So there's no roof on top. So if someone already has a crisis in life with 24, welcome. Join us. So, but if it comes later, join us later. But you have to find that out, because it is very important to know, okay, this is my kind of moment in life, and out of this perspective you can answer the questions a little bit differently, because
Florian,
yeah,
hello, my name is Philip.
Hello.
My question is, what is useful for actors there in Berlinale? It is clear with directors, with scriptwriters, it's always clear. But what is for actors? What are terms for actors? What do they do there, actors?
Okay, no problem. Thank you for the question. So first and foremost, the actors are considered, like everyone else, as like 100% equal contributors to the film idea. So the actors don't only do acting stuff, like the producers don't only do production stuff. You go and listen to a cinematographer or work with cinematographers if you want to speak about cinematography from your point of view as an actor. So that's the one thing. Of course, specifically, as we just said, there is the acting studio. The acting studio is a workshop within the framework of the bigger Berlinale Talents. It doesn't take the entire time. It's 2 sessions, 2 days in a way, of specific workshops during the 6 days of Berlinale Talents. And it's a group of 16 actors and actresses from around the world, or 18 or 15, so every year a little bit different. And they are working with 2 acting coaches, in that case from the US, wonderful people who are specializing on Alexander technique, if you're into details. So very much on finding what's inside yourself that pays into the role, pays into the story. So it's not so much about how to react and act in front of a camera. There is no camera in the room. It's very much about animal training. It's about finding out and bringing stories from home. You always bring a little photo from home, so because we have people from around the world. And then there's a workshop, very practical, very bodily, over 2 days, where you work that out as actors. And that's it. And then, of course, the actors have also practical networking events. So they meet, for example, casting directors. Any more questions in the moment? So since we are at this point, probably also about the application process or so?
Yeah, I have one question. My name is Eldar. I'm a director. Yeah, and I think I already applied for the director as a to Berlinale Talents. But I have a question. I think 2 years ago I already applied my script, which I worked on. It's Red Flower. That project has been selected on Almaty Film Festival last year. It's pitching, but as I understand that you cannot apply the same script next year. I mean, when you already applied your script for the script station. And but it's already, I think that project is ready for development, but there is no way to send that film to the talent project market because I'm not a producer, so only producer can send that project. But yeah, so the question is, should I send another one project, or should I maybe choose a short film station? But currently I focused on my feature project, but because I already made a few short films, so that's the question.
That's what to do.
Yeah, I mean, not what to do, but there is no way. You mean, I mean, you cannot apply.
Okay, thank you. First of all, you're right. So technically, you cannot apply twice with the same project for the same lab. It doesn't make sense. So even, of course, there have been exceptional cases where someone have worked on the script like hell. It has a different title. It's kind of totally different. Then, of course, okay, just apply again and let us know. Don't shy away the fact that you have applied, but under a different title, because we will find out anyway. But let us know, okay, this is I just want to try it. So, but normally, and from our experience, it doesn't really make sense. And it's not because your script is bad. It just makes the question was, okay, we looked into the status of the project, and it's in rare cases we say we don't select it because it's too early. We normally have another reason. We say, okay, it is the connection between the writer and the script. This simply doesn't work, or the questions are not right, or whatever she brings in. So it can happen that a year later, everything fits perfectly. And that's the magic moment when a script is selected again. But normally it doesn't work. So what I would recommend is, don't apply for the labs because you want to apply for the labs. So don't invent projects in a way and then choose just one which you have in your cupboard so that you can apply for short form station. If you don't have a project which fits into the stations in the moment, that's okay. Then obviously you have a different moment in your life and career, especially at least with regards to Berlin, meaning, okay, you just apply for the summit. So you let us know that you're working on this thing, but you have like more general questions on how to put this project into being. And I can promise you that the summit is not the B league of the lab. It's the opposite. If you ask me, I'm not a screenwriter and I love my labs, but to have the opportunity to have all these breakfasts and all these other stuff over the week, that's the best lab you can attend in your life. So because there's, let's say, 249 different mentors sitting around you, it's much better or likewise good as having the script station or the whatever experience. So don't stress yourself with the labs. You can try it, but if you don't, just apply for something.
Oh, I got it. Thank you. But I thought that it might be necessary to apply for some lab because when you finish the application. And one more question, sorry, if it's possible, because I think I applied for the Berlinale Talents because we have that. I don't think it's some kind of big problem, but I think it's a problem because I have some small independent production company here, and I work with my mother and my brother. Yeah, he's a cinematographer. She's a scriptwriter and producer of our movies. And the basic problem, because we in Kazakhstan it's not the official censorship, but there is some uncomfortable themes that we talk about. It's about the sex, about gender, about some problems of the patriarchal society, and that's why the most and the film, the short film, which has been selected to the Venice Film Festival in 2018. Yeah, I think so. But it was the name of it. It was Sex, Fear, and Hamburgers, and even the name, that word that word sex in the name of the film, it's so horrible. I don't know. The people they want to burn you and all your crew, and that's why. That's because we want to talk about that not comfortable themes, and it's not easy to find financing because we already applied for some government financing, and we thought that might be easy after Venice selection, but there is no way to get because they are scared of of what, but and we tried to that's why I applied to Berlinale, because I want to share my experience, and I want to find out how they. And is it right that the most of the filmmakers who applied, who do the application for the Berlinale, who went there, is most of them are independent filmmakers, which they start their career, but they do the independent movies. That's why I want to find out how they do, because we are not that such a closed country, and most people from like Iran or some other country, they do their own artistic movies. Is it right that the most of the is it possible to find some experience to share, to find the co-production there? Yes. No, I mean, yeah, it's possible, but I mean the most of them, or maybe it's the most of the people who attend, it's already success directors, some producers, cinematographers.
No, I hope I get you right. So because this first of all, I have to say, so both from what you told us about the difficulties of expressing yourself and your stories freely, that's of course a topic we try to tackle as sensible as possible. So it is something within the framework of Berlinale. That's the regular case. That's a reason why we invite films in a very often cases. That's because we want to give filmmakers the opportunity to express themselves freely. That's of course something what we fight for in the network and so on. So it's in this respect, you would be super welcomed in a way by an environment which understands you. And of course, filmmakers and most of the producers attending, you have to know, so out of the 250, it's around 50 producers. So this is like a market in itself. So there's 50 people, and they of course have their own projects, like Julia had her projects and so on. But on the same time, of course, they are open And I would say the structure of a Berlinale Talents is opposite to a strong market where you just pitched and then it's also broadcasted to the half of the world. But if the concept of talents where you can do it also in the way you would like it, so you can share it only with 3 people, but intimately after breakfast. That also allows people to bring in and find collaborators on more sensible stories. And I know that we know that a lot from the lab participants every year, and it's not only from your region in the world, it's also very much in Egypt nowadays. So that the Egyptian participants of ScriptStation and so on, so they have to be like super careful, Iranians anyway. So because otherwise they not only put their project in danger but also themselves. And, so we'll take care of it.
Maybe I can also add some words, because if you can also go to field market and share your idea there, so you can actually book meetings with producers or whoever you need, and have a meeting there. So it's actually like for me, honestly, I had not much time to do this, but I found like 1/2 of the day to go to the film market and had some meetings there. That was very, very nice. So it's another opportunity. So when you go to Berlin again, you have to know exactly what you want from your trip. Also what you want to share, as Florian said before. So anyway, if you have this idea in mind, then it's easier for you to navigate to do your schedule.
Thank you so much.
Any more?
I would like also to add just one thing from my personal experience, is that when I was applying for the general Berlinale Talents a few years ago, before I got selected, I had to apply 3 years in a row, and 3 times I got rejected. And only when I applied for the first time, I got selected. So I wanted just to say that if you get rejected, don't give up on that. If you get rejected one time, it doesn't mean you will be rejected forever. You just need to keep going, and I'm sure at some point you will get selected. Just I wanted to encourage you to not get upset if you get rejected with the first time. I would also like to know if it was just me or also Жаннат and Julia.
No, it wasn't you. And I think it's a very good point, because on the one side, it has this advice has a practical, it's practically helpful. So because you have to know that with thousands of applications per year, we say no to quite many of the very best and super talented people out of, let's say, mathematical reasons. In some cases, we say no because we don't think you're far enough, or it's not the right moment, or you're too far, or whatever happens. So, but in many cases, we say, okay, she's on a great way, on her way. She's finishing her short film. She has a good flow. She has been in Venice, and now she's just going to 20 other festivals in good old pre-corona times. Then we just let her go and say, okay, even if it would be great to put also talents on the list for her, it would be super, or for him. But from our, let's say, bird's eye perspective, we say, okay, it's just going well, let him just do it, and hopefully he applies again. And normally we also respond to applications a little bit differently, depending on whether we want you to encourage to apply again, or we say, okay, it simply takes a very long time until talent is right for you. If you're, let's say, the beginner of your studies, it doesn't make sense to say, please apply again for the next 5 years. We say, just finish your studies and come again when you're 28. So, it's right. And it is something which I would like to share with you, because it hasn't been shared very often in other cases. A rejection in Berlin is the beginning of a relationship. It's not a no, it's a not yet. And it's very different. So we keep in touch, we look into your previous applications. You can always write us if you have applied for the 3rd time in a row and you just fed up with us and think what's going on there. So then we will find some crazy explanations why we haven't gone for you again, but we won't share everything, but we will give you an honest answer.
But I also I want to add something. Like you can also like apply, for example, like the first year was like a general summit, and then you can come back for the lab. And I think like that's what Olga did, for example. And I think this is great because like I really enjoyed like the summit itself. Like it's so overwhelming, it's so crazy, there's so many things to do, and it would be very hard to choose like one or another one. So I think it's a great thing to try to do both, like maybe like first time just a summit and see and experience the whole thing, like the general one, like see like the madness of it, and then maybe come back with a project, because like you'll have like this will be 2 completely different experience, I believe. Yeah. And I think like for example, Eldara, you were saying like thinking about the labs, but I really think that like you don't even imagine how much the summit can benefit you. Like we haven't mentioned the Dine and Shine yet, right?
Yes.
Yes.
No, we haven't. Dine and Shine is a huge dinner. Again, like the biggest family dinner you can imagine. So, but it's like 450 people in a room, and it is. We really convince talents in the morning before it takes place on Sunday night to come. So because people normally think, okay, it's a dinner, and probably I want to go and see a film, and then they are like super disappointed on Monday morning when they hear from the others what actually happened there. So because in practical means it's super simple. It's 450 people in a room, and you change seat after each course. So you have different environments. You start in your region first, and then it's like it goes like a musical chair system, and it works again with these ideas of coincidences and chances. So because wine of course also helps a little bit, but it is super easy to get to know people, and out of the 250. The other 200, that's people from the festival, so who also apply for attending the dinner because they know it's a quite useful way to get to know you. And so it's producers, directors, festival owners, funders, whoever is hungry, and we bring them there together in that night. I wanted to share 2 things in practical terms, or 3 probably. If is someone of you, apart from Elda, I saw already that you applied, but it's is there others who apply this year or plan to apply?
Maybe I'll apply. I miss Berlin.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I did apply.
Good, wonderful. Oh yeah, that's right. You're on my list. Banu.
Yes, I do have a question actually, because I applied to Script Station and my film is a bit experimental. My characters are mute, so I don't have like 5-page dialogue list. That is a requirement. I have 7 lines in whole my film, so I was like a bit worried when I applied to the Script Station. How does it work with more experimental films?
The only thing you need to do, and you've done that for sure, is to explain your project in the way you want to explain it and how it will be. So because of course there is no formula to films, and if people don't have a script, they shouldn't invent a script for a lab also, or if they work differently on the whole thing. The only thing is the juries need to understand what your project is about. And if you explain that properly, I would say it's even an advantage. It's cool. So we have a new way of doing films probably discovered through you. So don't worry at all. If it's unusual, the better. So and experimental, why not? So.
Oh, thanks.
So if it's a very classical, by the way, super commercial film with comic characters, so it's also very welcome. So we tend to forget that, so that also, let's say the super commercial projects, whatever this means, or the people who are working in these environments are very welcome to apply. So everyone is there. No, the one thing that I wanted to mention, but it's probably you will find out yourself when you do applications, and I think Banu, you just mentioned that point already. So I can tell you from the juries and selection committee's perspective, we don't tick the boxes, we try to understand you. So just be very, very honest in what you do. And if you have a crazy life or are a crazy character in whatever creative way, try to find a way to express that. So not by making a crazy drawing in each of our application form, but by giving us a sense and idea of how you would like to express and present yourself, and don't think, okay, let me find out what the jury will think, how I need to present myself, or so on. It never works. And this being said, the application consists of these three elements, like your filmography, the question and answer, and your sample of work. And your sample of work is only 3 minutes. Again, like with a script, it is interesting for us to find out what you choose when you are asked to only send 3 minutes out of your work, and explain that properly in the questions that are added to that part of the application, what we see, and always try to put yourself into the jury's mind for a second, and or let someone else read your application at some point. And you have to imagine, so they're reading it, they have, let's say, 20 minutes with your application or half an hour or so, and they need to understand you. So they need to understand what is the connection in between this horror sample from your latest horror film and this answer about your love and passion for romantic comedy on the other side. So it's all fine if you have that two sides of yourself there, but you need to create the bridge, so that in a way the application in total tells an interesting story about yourself and about your work. A story where a jury can say, oh yeah, that's interesting, but there's still so many questions open, wonderful, and she brings in an interesting new ending to the world, to the idea of the world, so let's go for her. So because we won't call you, we don't ask, so we don't send an email like, okay, I don't get your question number 3, or your answer 3, so that's it. And so put some efforts into the application for it. Might take 3 days or so, and it's big fun. So, and if it's no fun to fill out the application, do it again. So, and if it's still no fun, then just leave it by that.
It's a huge application, actually.
Yeah, it's quite huge. And since yes, deadline is coming very soon, don't do it in the last week, please. Don't do it in the last week of September, because you only make stress yourself.
I did it for last day, actually, you know, because as a composer, I don't have any rights to put my samples into website of Berlinale or give a permission. So I was lonely asking, can I use the samples to upload? Can I use the samples? So it was a little bit delayed, and I was for last day applicated.
Excuses.
Yes, excuses. Yes, because I don't have any permission. Composers is someone who's really, really aloof. So.
But for me, honestly, it took quite a while to answer the questions. So I started. So I just read the questions. I said, okay, it's too complicated. I have to think. And then I did it twice or maybe 3 times. So I have these questions in my mind, and like little by little, I have some time to think, and then suddenly I go and do everything. So of course, this is not like very easy questions to reply. So you have to actually show who you are, what you want, what is your message in what you do. But it's interesting, and I think with these questions you start to prepare yourself to Berlinale Talents. Like when you go, you already know what you need, and that's cool.
The talent is. And there's one point which is rather new to the application form, and also a bit unusual if you compare it to other application forms around the world. So we do ask you what you do when you don't do films. Because there is, and you don't need to share that, but it's an invitation to share it, because very often in this in-between moments, let's say in between two films, there is quite interesting stuff happening. So you're running a company with your mother and your brother, or what was it, Elda, and you build up this company, and you did an intern, and you build up an own cinema around the corner. So because you thought, okay, there's no cinema here in town, so why should I make films if people can't see it? So I invented a cinema club first, and then I built up a cinema, and now I'm in a chain of wonderful community cinemas in half of Kazakhstan. And all these kind of stuff which happens in between, which is film connected, we love to know that. We call that the milestones. So that's an extra section of the application where you can fill in all the rest in a way, which is probably the most important stuff, because it's your source of income, it's your source of inspiration. Very often it's your network, it's your way how you want to change your community or your society even. So if a cinematographer in Brazil, if she builds up an association for female cinematographers in the country, that's a political act. And it's useful for her because she doesn't feel so alone anymore. But she also found another possibility apart from her work to express herself. So we want to know that. And there's quite a lot of stuff and program going on around this. So we will ask you again when you come to Berlin. And there's even a fund now, so where we support people on a year-round structure, which is called the enablement program. And in the moment we are working with traveling cinema in South Africa, and with the Association of Documentary Filmmakers in Pakistan, and so on. So there's quite a lot we are interested in.
Yeah, I want to add, as Julia mentioned, that it's a tough question, but at the same time, when you received the mail that you declined this year, it's amazing when you apply third time, you can see how it's the same questions, but how you change through after that. It's only 1 year gone, but you totally different person. You changed, so, and you answered that it might be totally, you might change the opposite person. That's amazing, because it's the same questions, tough question, but they're very helpful.
Yeah, super. Anything you need to know apart from the COVID question?
Yes,
I do have a question.
To change something? Oh, there is a question.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, Florence. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for the conference. My name is Daniel. I was planning to apply as an actor. And that's why I have a rather technical question about the show reel that I have to submit. And because it's very tricky all the time whenever you have a show reel, and everyone wants it differently. Someone asking for like scenes where they're actually speaking. Someone is asking for like more emotional scenes. And if it's done wrong, is there a possibility to redo it or re-upload later?
Thank you for the question. And I think it is a bit different with Berlin. So because we don't ask you for a show reel, we don't want to find out what have you done so far. We can read that somewhere in the filmography. We want to know what you, like I just said, what you like to choose to show us. So if this is only from one film and one particular scene where you think, okay, this is the scene where once in my own career I felt like really close to the character I was playing, then you choose just this one. And probably the other 5 films you did they are much bigger and so on, but you just leave them out or put them in the filmography because you think, okay, they were great, but they weren't as interesting as the one little film I made with this student. I'm just making up some things. You can also choose another film, but it's the question on what you choose is super important for us. So, but there's no limitation, there's no expectations in a way from our side on how and what should be the result. You only need to explain it, or make it understandable. So why you chose that scene where you're like in a super dark room and always crying. If this is the one, then it's okay. Many of the actors and many of others, they choose, let's say, 2 scenes within the 3 minutes. But this is so to have a little bit of a range, but that's not an obligation either. Then of course in general, but this goes also for the other fields of work, you can either take the scene or the sample of work to express your technical capacities as an actor, so saying, okay, it just shows me in the best way. Or you can also choose the scene and say, okay, it's me, of course, and I'm working here, but by the way, it refers to or relates to what I've said in the other questions on my way, for example, how on a topic or on a way how I see film can be a weapon or can be a tool to express and change people or whatever it is. So probably you choose a theme which has an important issue, which is an important issue to you as well. So you can also use that scene to, in a way, stress some other elements, some other answers you give in the application. So again, see it as one element of the story that you want to tell to the jury.
Oh wow, thank you. That's a really interesting approach and made more clear now. Thank you.
And don't stress yourself, just do it. Once again, don't expect to know the answer or the expectations of the jury already. You don't know it anyway. So it's people you don't know.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Any more questions? No? Then we have to speak about COVID. it's all canceled this year. So see you in 2022. No, festival is going to happen as far as we can say by now. It's, of course, as you can imagine and know from your daily experience, it's difficult to predict what is in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And we refrain from knowing what's going on in February and how the situation is. Of course, it is a crucial change, a crucial attack in a way on what we do. So because networking and how you got it explained today requires the face-to-face experience. It's nice to be with you here today and I get a little bit of an idea who you are and hopefully vice versa. Also a bit about your character and your way of your humor or whatever, but it's easier to do that during a breakfast. Or a dinner or whenever. But what we try to do is that we follow the path of Berlinale Talents up until the point where it is still digital anyway, which is the whole selection process. So the whole selection process is unchanged. We don't have any, let's say, COVID change made here. We don't ask you what's your situation in the country or so. So we just let you apply because this is done online. Selection process is done online in a way, or let's say technically here with the juries. And also the sheer fact that you are selected to be one of the 250 in early December online, so you become a talent even if you're somewhere in the world. And from December on, we will start to work with this group of selected 250, look into your situation in the country, look into our situation here in Berlin, and find solutions. We hope that we can bring most of you here to Berlin. Of course, that's always the hope in the beginning. We hope that at least the people who are close to Germany can travel, but you will remain a talent even if you are not able to come. The only thing is we have to make that decisions, so you can't make it. We will speak with you, we will check the situation, we will do our best to bring people. We also support you with travel costs, by the way, and so on. But if it's not possible out of health or travel reasons, not because you are shooting a film, but out of these two reasons, then we will find a replacement. And this replacement, just to be very honest, won't be the whole experience. Of course, we don't give you the whole thing. We don't give you the automatic invitation to 2022 or so, because it doesn't make sense. Like we just heard, life changes over the course of a year. So we don't believe in like say green card, how do you say, free entry and wildcards. And but we will give you mentorship. And even if you're a cinematographer or if you're an actor, so we can do a lot with mentorship, I guess, probably even more than with you listening to talks only or something like this, but something interactive. And we will give you most of what we can share and give to have and create and get this family feeling. So, but we'll see. So that's in the moment what we can say, and you can just be assured we won't let you leave you in your own country and forget you the moment you cannot travel. Also, we will make the best and most out of it under the new circumstances. But we hope to create an event which is at least a Berlin feeling, meaning what we don't do and don't want to do is like creating these kind of encounters where we meet on a server in the US in a way, but without anything. So I should turn that thing around so that you can see Berlin through the window. That would be great, so that you know where you are. That's it. In the moment, life is okay here, but we don't know. Hopefully your lives
all the hopes.
yeah, hopefully your lives are also okay. So what is so hopefully are you working in the moment? So all of you, or is this probably for the last 5 minutes or so some insights into your worlds? So what's going on?
I know that there is one director who was in shooting yesterday, so she joined us today, but I don't think that we are, like all of us, we are actively working because of COVID as well. So a bit, we adjust.
Yeah.
But you can compose every day, every night, all the months, so it's not a little bit about me.
Scripts, yes, and write emails, and like you can plan anyway. So it's a lot of things to do, but not shooting.
Yes.
Well, it's time for development, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I don't know whether my email is somewhere visible. Otherwise, Julia, you can always share it. Please check the website in case of general questions. We try to answer as much as possible there. If you have worries during the application process or in general with Berlinale or with life, then life probably speak with your mother first. Then let us know, and once again, so asking questions is not a bad thing. So of course, if you can answer them yourself, even better. But we won't make a remark in the database. She asked questions, so it's fine, and it saves a lot of time normally. So let us know. And in any case, I hope we can keep in touch. in Berlin or back home in Almaty.
Somewhere.
Yes. We will be happy to invite you one day.
Yeah, it would be lovely. I would have loved to come.
So we can meet and talk again.
Yeah.
But well, thank you very much for finding time and to meet all these wonderful people that are here in the chat. And as well, if you have any questions, like I'm talking to all of you, so I'm open. You can ask, and well, I will share the contacts and the email of Florian. Florian, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Julia, for making it happen. So, and also everyone else of the alumni group. So it's very good to see those faces again. and thank you.
Thank you.
Insights. Good luck with your projects, Olga.
It was a pleasure to see you again.
Alshanawa, so bye-bye. And have a good day.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good day. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.